With the Calgary Wranglers season in full swing, we are proud to introduce our long form series to get to know and share the stories of the players and the staff. And I thought it was only fitting that the first guest is the team's new captain, Clark Bishop. Clark, thank you so much for taking some time and sitting down for a chat.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be on.
Awesome. Well, we have to go all the way back. When do you remember first strapping on a pair of skates?
Gee, I think my dad first put me on when I was about 2 years old or somewhere in that area, and I think I just never looked back from then. He's always high in the hockey world when I was growing up, and always involved with coaching and playing and stuff like that. So, I think he really had a big impact on my starting my hockey career.
And did you know right away? Was there any frustration or were you ready to just go guns a-blazing when you threw on the skates?
Yeah, I think was holding that, learn to play kind of thing that they have, like it's almost like a chair. I think I was always buzzing around on those on the ice from what my parents tell me. But at a young age like that, I think it was all just for fun, and never really thought about it until I got older that pro could be an option.
And then you have a brother that plays as well, correct?
Yeah, he's back home playing right now. He was at university playing. He just finished there last year, and he was playing with the Halifax Mooseheads for 4 years as well.
What was that dynamic like growing up with a brother who also played the same sport that you were? Was there a natural competition there?
Oh yeah, I think people who are in the same position with a younger brother or a brother as a sibling and both playing hockey, I think they could both say the same thing. Growing up, it was always street hockey outside. We're only 3 years apart, so lots of balls going through the windows or the headlights of the cars. And there's this street back home in Newfoundland right next to our house where it's just one small road, no houses on it, but the mailbox. So eventually, mom and dad pushed us over to there. So we'd always had to bring the net over there and play. But it was someone was always going in crying, or someone was always going in telling my mom he did that, or whatever. So we were always pretty competitive, and I've always had that competitiveness in me as well.
Did your dad coach either of you guys?
Yeah, he coached both of us growing up. I think quite a bit actually. More when we were younger, and then I think when I was in Pee Wee and Bantam, he coached me a couple times. I think the same with my brother.
Curious, I always like to ask professional hockey players this question. Who was on your bedroom as a poster? Or were you collecting hockey cards, or was there a poster up in your bedroom of somebody that you idolized?
Yeah, I always said growing up from an early age, in junior and right before I went to junior, that Jonathan Toews was someone that I looked up to. Just like with his leadership and the way he played the game, I kind of tried to put my game close to his. And, it was just somebody I thought that had a lot of experience in the hockey world, and somebody that I could look up to.
Curious, when you look back, was there a pivotal moment where you realized I can play this at a professional level? Where was that moment for you?
I think I don't know if it was, I realized I could play professionally. May have just been realizing that I was maybe a little bit better than my peers growing up. I was in midget. We were at a Gatineau tournament, and I had some agents come in talking to my dad, and my dad finally let me know about it. And I think it was earlier on in the year. We were in Moncton, actually. There were some other people that were coming up talking to him, and he didn't really say much to me at that point because he just wanted me to focus on playing. And at an early age like that, you don't want to get too in your head about all that stuff. So I think it was in January one year when I was in midget my first year, and I went and met with an agency. And then at that point, I kind of thought, okay, like there might be a pathway here to either pro or wherever that road was going to take me.
Did you find it was putting more pressure on your plate, or were you able to just be Clark Bishop, the hockey player?
Yeah, I think I was still able to be myself and play. Like at the time, like I think I was only 14 or 15 at the time when that happened. So I wasn't putting too much pressure on myself very much, and my dad never did that to me as well. So I kind of learned at an early age, just kind of go play, have fun, not really worry about the outside noise and that sort of thing. So I think then as we got moving and the Q draft came along, and I was talking to a lot of teams when I went to the combine, and I think at that point then it kind of got a little bit more, not frustrating, but I didn't really know what to expect because it was all new to me, and I was happy where I ended up in Cape Breton, and I went third overall, so I was kind of highly scouted and had a lot of pressure on my plate, but it all worked out in the end.
When you look back on your time in junior, what are some of your favorite memories?
I think just a lot of the guys I played with, and those long bus rides. I mean, you have some good laughs on those bus rides, and you looking back on them now, I don't think I'd ever be able to do those long bus rides anymore. I mean, we were in Cape Breton, we were the furthest team away from everyone, so our closest game was Halifax, which was 4 hours. So those bus rides, we spent a lot of time together with the teammates, and I still have some buddies and good friends from those days.
And you also had the opportunity to represent Canada at the U18s as well as the Ivan Hlinka Memorial. Just looked at those rosters, they were pretty stacked. If you look back on it, Braden Point, Matt Barzell, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett. What were those experiences like for you when you were able to slide on the Maple Leaf?
Yeah, amazing. Throwing a Hockey Canada jersey at any age, I think, is something very special, and I took it with honor and pride. And actually, a video came up on my phone the other day of that tournament, and I was just kind of looking back on, like you said, and all those players that were playing there, and I was like, wow, like that's all these guys playing right now. Some of them have Stanley Cups, and they're my age, so. It was a pretty highly scouted team, and a lot of good players on that team.
So I wanted to take a look at this. Just 20 players from St. John's have been drafted in the NHL. So you're part of a very prestigious small club. I can tell you have so much pride about your hometown. What was it like growing up there?
It was awesome. I mean, the weather is not always great there, but it's a pretty hockey friendly community. And I remember just growing up, and we had a couple AHL teams there. We had the QMJHL team there. So I grew up a Leafs fan, and at an early age, the Leafs had their farm team there. So would always go down to games. My dad did some scouting and some video coaching for those teams that played there. So there was lots of nights that me and my brother got to go down and sit in the seats, and my dad would come check on us like when he was down bottom and in between periods. So it was always hockey, hockey, hockey growing up. But in the summertime there, we kind of put the hockey skates away and all the gear and played whether it was soccer, baseball, whatever it was. I think my dad was pretty high on that, just kind of getting away from the game in the summertime and not kind of, burning yourself out from one sport and kind of making yourself sick of it. So, I think another thing he thought as well was, be a multi-sport athlete is always something pretty good as well. So growing up there was pretty good. And, I always like going back there and seeing the scenery, and I like doing some hikes and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's always good to go back and see family and friends.
Yeah, you mentioned something really interesting there in being a multifaceted athlete. Is there anything else you dabble in when the season is over?
Not really these days, but used to be a bit of baseball. I just got more into golf this summer as well. So that's kind of on my radar right now, is trying to up my golf game a little bit, because that's a frustrating game.
What's your handicap, if you don't mind me
Oh,
asking?
I'm like, I think at the beginning of summer, I downloaded an app. I was like at 20. And I think I got myself up to like a 14, 15. So I'm getting there. But me and my brother-in-law play a lot back home, and we kind of got a little friendly competition on who can be better. And he actually just started playing in April, and Labor Day weekend got a hole in one. So that was pretty wild, actually.
That's incredible. What course was that?
It's called the Mactaquac Provincial Course in Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Very cool. It must have been a three par, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah,
Huh,
yeah,
that's incredible. Okay, so
yeah,
he's got bragging rights on you now. You gotta
yeah, yeah.
gotta
And
up him
actually,
next year.
the hole that he had his hole in one on, I was coming pretty close, like the last few rounds, and within a couple feet, like two times, I think. And then we had a little friendly match going with two groups on Labor Day weekend there, and I went to the 17th hole with my group, and it was the first time I think all summer that we didn't golf together in the same group. And he hit his hole in one. We were walking up to the tee box and heard everybody yelling, and we ran right back up, and he was running down. So it was pretty cool.
That's fantastic. I got to look ahead a little bit more in your career. So you get drafted. What do you remember the most about hearing your name called and knowing that you were drafted by an NHL franchise?
I think I blacked out, to be honest with you. I think I remember I actually went to the draft in Philadelphia. My dad said it was a once in a lifetime thing, no matter if you were getting drafted in the first round or seventh round. I think it was going to be a pretty cool day. So, we risked it and went to Philadelphia and had some family down there. And on the second day of the draft, when my name got called, I think I remember telling my dad, I thought I got drafted by the Leafs or something because they were, I think, before Carolina or two picks before. So, and when my name got called, I was just kind of like in awe and just kind of, like I said, blocked out. So, it was a pretty special moment getting to throw the jersey on, go down on the floor and meet some people and some media and all that sort of stuff. So, it was pretty cool day.
And when you go back to your first training camp, were you nervous? How did you feel? How did everything go for you?
Uh, I can't even really remember, but I think I was for sure nervous. I mean, going into a room with all those guys, the NHL guys, Stahl and Falk, and just like a couple of those guys that were down there. I mean, I was only 18 at the time, so it was pretty intimidating going in and playing against men for the first time and getting a glimpse of that.
When you look back on it, do you think the transition from junior to pro was more difficult or maybe less difficult for you?
Uh, I think it was, it had its ups and downs. When I got to pro, I mean, in junior, I was still kind of on the verge of being a bit of a skilled player. I had some injuries through my career that didn't allow me to, showcase myself. But as I got to pro, I kind of got put into a, third, fourth line role, penalty killing, which, I think I've thrived in and I take pride in that role. Um, and it was difficult at the time being 20 years old, living on my own for the first time, not really knowing the ropes and which way was right. And, I spent some time in the East Coast League my first year as well, which I think helped me tremendously. I went down there and played, I think, 20 or 25 games after Christmas because I wasn't really playing a whole lot in Charlotte. We had a bit of an older team. So, and then I came back right before playoffs. And the next year, I think I had my career high in points. So to go down there and kind of get the feel for the game and still play pro hockey and against good players, I think really helped me.
You mentioned your time in Charlotte. You win a Calder Cup, and what an incredible final that was. You guys lost the first game in overtime, and then you knock off four straight wins. What did that experience teach you? Because that's pretty prolific to be able to rebound. Because I think back to that Wranglers series versus Coachella where it went to three overtimes and thinking to myself how difficult it must be for a player to be able to rebound, just put it in the back of your mind and focus on everything that's going to happen in front of you.
Yeah. Playoffs are a weird time of year. Anything can happen no matter where you are in the standings. Any team has a chance, really. But there was something special about that team that year, and we were really close and had a really good team. We all knew it, and everybody on that team wanted to win. And I think in the back of our heads, we all knew that we were going to win that year. And once we lost that first game, I think it kind of gave us a bit of a bitter taste in our mouth that we gotta win this thing. And at the end of the day, when we won that, it was probably one of the best days of my life, honestly, winning that thing.
You always hear chatter about a team being special, but the fact that you've walked the walk, you know what a special team is, and you were able to follow through and win the Calder Cup. Now that you've been through that experience, what intangibles does a team need to have to be able to hoist a trophy at the end of the season? Because it is a heck of a journey.
Yeah, it's a long time. I think we finished at like mid June or something like that. So we played a lot of hockey all year, but I think you got to have a close knit group and guys that want to win and want to be there and buy into the system and the team culture. And, at the end of the day, if you all believe in that, I think you can go somewhere pretty far. I mean, my, 2 years here in Calgary, I think, I've become close with a lot of guys, and I know we got a lot of new guys here this year, but I'm feeling the same thing. And I know we've gotten knocked out in the second round, or it's the first, second round, whatever you want to call it, last couple of years. But there's something special here with the culture, and I learned quickly my first year here that winning was number one on the list, and everybody had that in the back of their head. And when we lose games, guys are mad and pissed off, and they don't want to lose again. So I think if you have that kind of culture in your room, it's going to bring you pretty far.
I want to put a pin in that for a second. I just want to talk about the American Hockey League in general, because as a player in this league, you need to get used to turnover on your roster, not only on a yearly basis, but sometimes on a weekly basis, because players are getting called up or players are being reassigned. What is the adjustment you need to make as a pro to get used to all of the transactions that are happening with your team in such a short period of time?
Yeah, I think something that my dad always told me is just control what you can control. You can't control guys getting called up or being sent down or coming from wherever. And if you do that, I think you're going to be good. And I think they do a good job of that here with guys coming in and going up. And yeah, I think if you do that, then things will go good for you.
I think what benefits us here in Calgary is the fact that the two teams play in the same city. Because I can't imagine what it would be like. You get called up and you have to wait for a plane and it might get delayed and you have to rejoin the team, or you have to join the team, but then you don't even get into a game. But the fact that everything's happening in the same city, it benefits all of you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a huge benefit for all teams that do that nowadays. I think eventually a lot of the teams that are further away right now from their NHL club, I think down the road they'll be a lot closer within that 2 hour range probably. So I remember when I was in Charlotte getting called up to Carolina, the amount of miles that I put on my car that one year going back and forth from Raleigh to Charlotte, it was pretty crazy. But when you look back at it, it was all for good times.
Summer of 2022, all of the years, sorry, with the pandemic sort of mixed together. But what made you decide to pick Calgary?
You know what? I was just talking to my agent a little bit about it. I kind of let him do the talks in the background, and he kind of relays that message to me. But he said Calgary was interested, and at the time, I was pretty interested in being in one city with the NHL club, the AHL club. Everybody told me Calgary was a great city. I wasn't ever out here before then, actually, just for one time in the prospects game when I played in it here in Calgary. But I was here for like one day and then back to Cape Breton again. So I think looking back on it was a pretty good decision I made, because we've found a bit of a home here, and the way the team plays, I think fits my style of play, and just love everyone here, and the staff and coaching staff and everyone in the organization has been really good to us.
When I look back on that first season, there were a lot of memorable, indelible type moments. And I always remember December and Brett Sutter's 1000th AHL game. And I think for everybody that was there, and that night culminates a lifetime of work, essentially,
Yeah.
right? All of the sacrifices he made, all of the sacrifices his mom, dad, siblings, his wife, his kids have made for him to reach a plateau that in the American Hockey League, I don't think it's very easy to hit that mark. For you guys as players on that night, what were you thinking when you saw Suts get that silver stick?
Just it's crazy that he played 1,000 games in the AHL. I mean, anybody who's played in the American League knows that it's a pretty good grind on your body, and for him to do that, just like you said, not just 1,000 pro games, but 1,000 in the AHL. It's something pretty special, and I think I've said it in a couple interviews, but he's so well known around the hockey world, and everybody looks up to him, and he's such a great guy that everybody in that locker room that night was so happy to see him get that.
What did he teach you about being a captain as he passed you the torch not too long ago?
Yeah, I don't think it's anything he's really said. Just the way that he conducts himself on a daily basis. And I've said this a couple times as well that we became pretty close. We were roommates. I got to see firsthand how he conducts himself on a daily basis on things, and it was pretty special for him to hand that off to me.
And now that you're a captain, obviously you have to answer questions a little bit more. You've worn a C before, you've worn an A before, but the captaincy is a little bit different, I think, in a professional environment. How is any, if anything, how have things changed for you?
Probably just the media, like you said. But I'm enjoying it. It's fun. Not really changing anything I do on a daily basis. I'm still just trying to be myself and the type of player I am. I don't want to change anything like that because that's not why I got named captain. It's because of who I was before and what I was doing on a daily basis. So I don't want to change anything like that. But I think just kind of being there more for your teammates and trying to help the young guys out along the way as well.
Something we've talked about on the broadcast is the fact that no hockey player's journey is linear. I think Justin Kirkland is such a good example of that and what he's been able to achieve making the jump to the big club and knowing that he didn't do it at 22 or 23. How do you use that as potential motivation for yourself? Because you've had a really good start to the season and you've scored goals when they matter. We've loved seeing you score some game winners. So, what is the mentality for you now, especially being in this market where the door is open to the Flames?
Yeah, I think, like I just said, not changing anything for myself. Just going to go out there, control what I can control, and just be who I am on the ice and what makes me best. It's great to see Kirky up there doing that. It's a cool story, and I've mentioned too before about I think it was Derek Ryan. He plays in Edmonton right now. He was captain when I was in Charlotte, my 20-year-old year. I think he was 28 or 29 years old, and he got the call up to Carolina that one year, and never looked back in the American League. So I think the door is always open for some of those older guys. Just depends on where and when the time is right. So it's great to see Kirky up there doing so well too.
Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on this market. Has anything surprised you in Calgary as a hockey market since your tenure here?
No, not really. It's been good to us, and it is such a hockey town. You can see that, and I've always said, being from Canada and coming from a small hockey market as well in Newfoundland, it's good to see everybody out supporting their team and supporting all four teams here, really. So it's really good to see.
And as somebody that was only playing in the East, have you noticed anything different since coming over to the West? Is that actually true that there is difference between East versus West?
Yeah, it does seem a little bit. Guys do joke around about that, but I think it depends on what you think, really. But everyone used to say it was a heavier league out here, and the physicality was more, and I can see that at times, and the competitiveness and stuff like that. So, but I think the whole league is really good.
I want to circle back to something you said about Charlotte. You said you knew that it was a special team, and you mentioned that you've seen some of that here in Calgary. What do you like about this group?
I mean, I think just every day showing up to the rink, everybody has a smile on their face. Everybody wants to be there. You become going on the road early actually really helped us becoming closer with one another. Like I said earlier, we had a lot of new faces join this team this year. So it was kind of nice to get on the road, kind of put a name to the face, be in a room with somebody you're not normally in a room with or not used to, and kind of get that bond on the ice. So, and off the ice as well. So, it's been good, and I think everybody in the back of their heads has the right mindset.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a couple of fun questions to wrap this one up, so it's not super pressure. But since you've been in Calgary for a couple of years now, what is your hidden gem? Like maybe a coffee shop or maybe a dog park that's a go-to for you and your wife, Kathleen?
Yeah, we like the Altador Dog Park. I think it's called Sandy Beach area. It's a pretty big spot, and our dog Watson likes going off leash and kind of just running around. And if you can find a stick or a ball or something like that, he kind of buzzes around. But no, it's a good walk for us as well. And when the weather is nice, we kind of walk down by the water down there as well, and it's really nice.
What kind of pooch do you guys have?
We have a golden doodle.
Oh, goodness. That's a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
yeah, and he's not small. He's 80 pounds, so he's pretty big.
Okay, you can only watch one movie for the rest of your life. What is it?
Maybe Harry Potter. We watched that last year. It's got me back into it a little bit as a kid and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun watching that.
Have you read the books as well?
I haven't read the books, no.
Okay. Okay.
Not really a book reader.
Fair enough. Fair enough. On your phone, what is your number one time waster app?
Oh, probably Instagram or Snapchat.
Yeah, I think a lot of people your generation love
Yeah,
those ones. And
yeah.
and this is one of my favorite questions asking anybody. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of athletes?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, I've really grown on Tiger Woods lately in the last couple of years. Always liked Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby on the hockey side of things.
And give me a fourth one if you can.
Ah, let me see. I'll go with Tom Brady.
Yeah, yeah, you've got some goats in there, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Final question for you tonight, Clark. Just what is your message for Wranglers fans? What do you want them to know and take forward throughout the rest of this season?
Yeah, I think we're a fun hockey team to watch, so it's great seeing everybody come out and get along and watch the games. And bigger the crowd, the better. I don't think fans know how much the fans can impact the game, especially for the home team. So just get out and watch us, and hopefully we can do something good for you.